Hey there guys, and welcome back. On this week's show, we're going to be fixing a Roland FD-8 hi-hat pedal. Well, for those of you that tune in regularly to the show, this may seem a little odd to you, but here on Alternative Tuesdays, this particular segment of the show was created so that it could house projects like this that didn't have anything to do with woodworking. Now, the way it is that for years I've been a drummer and I've loved to play, and I sold my acoustic kit because it was really loud and ended up getting an electric kit. And for that I have a Roland kit, but the pedal for it, the FD-8, over a period of time you stopped being able to get that closed hi-hat, very crisp staccato rhythm that you want with the closed hi-hat, and instead it's giving more of either a medium open or a full open hi-hat, which is kind of, you know what, it's a great sound when you're playing heavy metal, but it's not so great if you want something a little more technical or a little more crisp. So there's an issue with the pedal, and I'm pretty sure that Roland's aware of it, but either way, I'm going to show you guys how to fix it today. Well, the big thing with the FD-8 is that when the rubber gets hard, you can hear that it's a half open hi-hat. It's not crisp. If I put extra pressure on it, it cleans it up. I shouldn't have to put that much pressure on it. So what we need to do is take it to the shop and, well, we're going to do some modifications. The very first step in this process is we need to take the pedal apart, and we're going to start off by removing these little set screws here. The only reason I'm removing these is because I don't want those sharp points scratching up my bench. So we're going to take those off and put them off to the side. Now on the bottom of the pedal there are quite a few Phillips screws, and they are holding down the housing. So remove all of those screws so that we can get at the internal workings of the pedal. Now the part here in the pedal that we're interested in is this little rubber foot here, and it's just down over top of a post. And if you're having problems getting that off, you just want to wiggle it back and forth, just like that, and you'll be able to get this off no problem. Now, what happens with these pedals is this rubber foot here gets hard and it won't flex, it won't bend, and that's the case here. And you can probably see I've tried other fixes. I tried drilling some holes to relieve the rubber and it's just not happening. So the first thing you want to do is you want to remove all the silicone grease off of this so you're not getting it everywhere. Well, hopefully this is going to translate to the camera. The way this pedal works is it's bolted down or held in place just like so, and it flexes. And as you can see here, I can put quite a bit of pressure on it and I'm still not getting that flex that I want. I'm not getting this to sit flush, to be able to register onto the sensors. And as I said, the holes did nothing. So what I'm going to do today is we're going to cut some relief kerfs in the top of our rubber here so that we can give it flexibility. In the same way that we would cut a saw kerf in plywood to be able to bend it around furniture forms, we're going to do the same thing to the Roland pedal. Now you can use a sharp knife, you can use a serrated blade, you can use whatever you want. For me, I'm going to be using this razor saw, and all I'm going to do is at about every 1/16 of an inch, I'm just going to score the top of the surface, and I'm going to give it a kerf of about 1/16 of an inch. You don't want a lot of kerf on this because you don't want to weaken the actual pedal. You just want to give it the ability to flex. As well, you want to put multiple kerfs in this because that way each of the kerfs are sharing the load of being able to be bent without having one of them alone sharing that load. In which case, if it was just one cut, it could rip and tear through your pedal instead of achieving it to be able to be more flexible. So carry on and cut all of your 1/16 of an inch deep kerfs. Well, once you get those cut, you just want to check to make sure that they're all about 1/16 of an inch deep. I've got a few there that are much more shallow than what I would like, so I'm going to just cut them a little more, and then once I get them cut, I'm going to show you what we ended up with. Now here you can see all of the kerfs that I've cut in the top surface of the pedal, and hopefully, there you go, now you can see how deep I've cut them, about 1/16. Ignore these holes here, those holes was another experiment on how to fix the pedal. So hopefully now you can see, and it'll translate to the camera, that this is much more flexible. It doesn't take as much pressure for me with my finger here to be able to get this to flex all the way down and all the way flat to register for my closed hi-hat. So now it's time to put the pedal back together, but before you do, you want to make sure that you've got some grease on this surface right here, and for that we're going to use silicone grease. We have our little tube of silicone grease, and we're just going to apply it quite liberally to this rounded section here of our piece of rubber, and that allows it to slide smoothly across the pedal so that it can register. So give it a very liberal coating. You don't have to be shy with this stuff at all. And with your grease applied, we're just going to follow the steps in reverse that we used to take the pedal apart. And if you're careful here, you can do it with the least amount of problems. So we're just going to slide our pedal back into the housing. I've got a little bit of grease there on it, but that's okay, I'm not concerned. And once you get that in place, hold your base there, flip it over, and put all of your mounting screws back in. And then you just want to place your stabilizer spikes back into the front end here so that we don't lose them. Now with our pedal together, we're just going to wipe off any grease that we may have got on it, because there is a few places there that I had some on my fingers and I got it on the pedal. But we're going to wipe it all down clean, make sure it's good to go, and then we're going to head inside to the drum kit and take this for a test spin and see how we do. And we can see here now that we have the fully open hi-hat. We can give a little bit of pressure and get that half open sound, but as well, We also, with very little pressure there at all, you get that nice staccato sound that you should with that tightly closed hi-hat. And there you go. That's a modification. We'll see how long it lasts. And there you have it. The repair of the Roland FD-8 hi-hat foot pedal. Guys, this is a common problem when it comes to Roland foot pedals because there are quite a few of them out there on the market that use this same rubber foot. And the flexing of that rubber foot is what allows the sensors to tell how open or how closed your hi-hat is. And if that piece of rubber won't flex, obviously it's not going to register and it's going to cause you problems like what we saw at the beginning of the video. So this here is kind of a last-ditch effort. You may have already looked online and you may have already found people who have fixed it by using the Vaseline trick. And what that is where you coat that rubber piece in Vaseline for 24 hours and the Vaseline is corrosive to the rubber and it sort of melts it away a little bit and makes it more flexible by eliminating that top layer of hardened rubber. Does it work? 100%. Yes, it does. I've tried it and I can tell you it works. I can also tell you, because I've tried it, that that is a temporary fix, and within a couple months your pedal will harden back up again and you will go right back to the same results that we saw at the beginning of the video, with the sensors not knowing when that hi-hat is fully closed. So this slicing the rubber sort of thing and giving it that flex is a last-ditch effort for me in order to fix this piece of rubber so that it will retain its flexibility. If this does not work, I will be replacing the piece. But for now, this is what I'm going to do in order to gain flexibility. And as we saw in the previous clip, it seems to have really improved it. In fact, 100% repaired it. How long will it last? I don't know. Will the rubber around the outside now harden and cause those kerfs that we've cut to split and break that piece finally? It may, in which case that'll force me to buy a new piece, and there you go, win-win. My pedal's back to normal. So I kept my money in my pocket for a little longer by doing a temporary fix, and I still got my pedal working again. Regardless, it doesn't matter. Hopefully this will work and we won't have any more issues, and hopefully Roland will either change their rubber that they used for that piece, or they will change their design to incorporate something a little more flexible. Maybe Roland needs to cut kerfs top and bottom along that strip to give this thing full flexibility. Guys, I really want to thank you for joining me this week. I know it's different from our usual format, but that is the whole purpose of the Alternative Tuesdays and why they were created, to bring you something different that you may not normally be exposed to. I want to thank you for joining me this week. If you have this problem, I hope you're going to try it yourself. I hope it's going to work for you, and I hope you're going to join me again next week when I bring you another Alternative Tuesdays. Same rubber part on the interior workings to be able to register the level of openness or closeness. Darn, that was a good and too. That was really good. Okay, let's take it over.